Hi, it's Zobor1975 and welcome to Elite Dangerous on the Legacy version on Xbox. Now, the most complained about thing on Elite Dangerous is the grind. The grind is horrific. Now, the money grind has got easier over time. There's plenty of ways to make money in this game. I would never worry about the money grind. The grind to Elite, that's not really an issue. The grind to Elite's not a problem. But the biggest issue is the grind for engineering materials and engineering grind. And that's the one that puts most players off. That's the one that most players find the most difficult. Now, I will put in the description of this video some of the most efficient ways to get materials. Now, when it comes to raw materials, you want to go out to the crystal shards, you want to max out your raws and trade them down. For engineered materials or manufactured materials, you want to go to the ground bases, get the reasonably high grade there. Then it's all about dropping in high grade signal sources. Now, there is a method which I don't use that most people use. FDev have made it clear it's not an exploit. However, I don't use it because it feels like an exploit to me. I'm weird like that. But it's a method in which you have to log out all the way to the dashboard to get the high grade instance to re-instance. Now, because you could go all the way to the dashboard, I'm like, it feels too cheesy to me. But look up that method. That way you can find a high grade that's got 30 minutes left, and you can go in and out of it, and fill up very quickly. If you're not opposed to using that method. If you're weird like me and you don't use that method, you just have to jump into way more signal sources. It's not really a problem, it just takes time, which is, now, below is a list of what state the system has to be in to produce the high grade map that you want. Pharmaceutical isolators are like unicorn droppings. I wouldn't bother. I would just fill up on others that are easy to get, like Imperial Shielding or Core Dynamic Composites, and just trade across. 6-to-1 on the trade is horrible, but it's the best you've got. As to mats for data, the easiest way to deal with this is to just go to Jamesons Cobra. If you do it 3 times and trade round, you will fill your mats up just from going to Jamesons Cobra 3 times. It's a bind, it's a pain, but it's the most efficient way. Now, I don't generally do most of these things. I basically gather mats from what I do. Because I do power play, I kill a lot of ships and I scoop up their remains. Because of power play, I scan a lot of ships because I scan everything in the instance. I generally come across a lot of ships and I generally scan them, and I just use the scans that I get to fill up my data mats. Then when I go to one of the ground bases, I also get mats from scanning the beacon at the start. At the entranceway there's a little beacon. You scan it, you get some data mats, you do a loop, you log in, you log out, you scan the thing, do a loop, and it's amazing how quickly that can fill up data that you can trade round. And I don't mind driving around the lookout base. It's a picturesque spot and I'll do it for a few hours and it's fine. But like I say, in the description you'll find all the details of what I'm talking about and how to find stuff. But ultimately, you've got to find your own way to manage the grind. Now, what I do is I just let my materials build up naturally, and I've fully engineered like 35 ships at this point, and I've never rushed out to go and do the material grind to get the stuff. I basically let myself pick up the materials as I go, and so when I buy a new ship like this, I generally have enough to engineer everything that I want. Here this is a Python I just recently bought myself because somebody was attacking our power play. I wanted something just in case I had to start fortifying places with only medium outposts. I ended up taking these multi-cannons off and not engineering them. I decided to go weaponless in the end, or use whatever weapons I had spare on my carrier, because I realised I had the wrong blueprint printed. I've still got a max capacity blueprint pinned on multi-cannons, which is not what I wanted. And I've got plenty of spare weapons on my carrier that I can use for this. A couple of pacifier frags, etc. I thought would be a better, loadout on this. But you'll see. Once you've unlocked your engineers, now that's a grind in itself, unlocking all your engineers. But as Scooby always says, you only have to unlock them once. Then you can pin the blueprint, and then you can do this. I only have to go to engineers now to get the experimental effects on things. That's it. I can fully engineer stuff to grade 5 from the comfort of my carrier, or from a landing pad in a base, in a station, you know? Now, once you've got the engineers unlocked in the bubble, the reason you go to Clonier means you can have multiple blueprints pinned, so you can have everything you want at your hands at all times. You very rarely have to go to engineer to change a blueprint. For example, if you're like wanting to switch a load, you know, frags, multi-cannons, or different weapons. Now, I have everything set how I want it, and it's really easy for me to just come down here, buy a new ship, and as you can see, I have enough mats from just my general gameplay to fully engineer a ship that I've just brought, and that is a huge boon. But it takes years to get to that point. The grind is painful, the grind is horrible, but once you've unlocked your engineers, they're unlocked. You know, and honestly, it doesn't take that much work to maintain your mat status to the point where you'd be able to fully engineer one ship. And as you can see here, I can choose between dirty and clean drives. You know, I can generally do what I want. I would definitely recommend doing the Colonial engineers just so you can have that flexibility with pinning blueprints. And also, it's the only way you can get grade 4 shield cell banks is from one engineer in Colonia, which is a bit of a pain, but that's the way it goes. And as you can see, like, this is just so simple. I can literally just get exactly what I want. The one thing that I was really caning through with this was core dynamic deposits, which I get regularly through Sol, but I think I'd used them recently. I'd filled it up and then I'd traded them round to other things, because that's what I generally do. Is I just use the material traders and trade round, up and down. I go mining so often that I fill up my low mats and then I just trade them up. I do it at the start of the week. That way it unlocks my 400 arcs straight away. You know, I do a lot of undermining, so that means I kill a lot of ships, and that means I collect a lot of mats, which are usually mid-grade. I do a lot of wing missions, and I capitalise on those anacondas, which again, that's high-grade mats. That's really good stuff you get out of those anacondas. I can't stress more. Stack up 20 wing missions, then jump in a combat ship with collector limpets. You will get a load of bounties, make a lot of money, get a lot of mats. And generally, just find a way that you don't mind doing, and do it when you have to. Don't do it like all the time. Thing with Elite, just take regular breaks and don't let the grind you down. Like I say, in the description's everything you need to do the most efficient way, but that might not always be the most fun way. Anyway, that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope what's in the description helps you out and saves you some time. Let me know what you think in the comments down below.